Shelby, get in. It's time for a house call.
Where are we headed, Renata?
Let me tell you on the way. You want to try the nasturtium? You need to taste that one. See what you think of this one. I'm going to be interested.
Ooh, there's like sweetness to that. I really like that.
Yeah?
And then it gets kind of spicy.
Yeah, it builds at the end.
Yes.
The nasturtium flowers can get quite spicy. Lofty and inconceivable. Growing food seems a far cry from growing that umbrella tree in the corner of the living room. Sure, houseplants are doable, and the idea of a homegrown tomato sounds nice. But never having grown a vegetable garden successfully and watching friends and family do it with ease makes it seem like a garden in the air. Alex finds that she has a desire to tap into her gardening era, but without the gumption to go all in with an in-ground garden. Little does she know, a solution awaits, combining the best of both the houseplant and the vegetable gardening worlds. Enter the case of the bite-sized garden.
Can't keep bell peppers in my house, so for there to be extra peppers that's like, just go eat the ones on the porch, please, will be great.
Okay, that's great. I'm excited.
Growing up, Renata, my mom and dad had this massive vegetable garden and flower garden, and looking as a young homeowner, the idea of doing any of that sounds way too stressful. So what are some potentially, other options that I could be doing?
It's very intimidating to see like the ideal garden, especially in magazines and catalogs, like the Martha Stewart garden, and then only to be like, how will I ever get there into that dream garden? Well, container gardening is like dipping your toes into the water, and that's what I showed Alex how to do in this house call. Hey!
Hello, hi!
How's it going, Alex?
Good, how are you?
I'm here with the plants. You see all the beautiful plants?
I
Are
love
you ready
them.
to plant a garden today?
I am ready to plant a garden.
Okay, well, how about we start out here?
Okay, perfect.
So Alex has a major lack of confidence, like a lot of new gardeners trying a new category of horticulture, because she has a lot of family and friends that are successful, or at least that she sees as successful or more successful than herself.
I've tried to start a garden everywhere that I've lived, and I tell myself I have a black thumb. Everyone around me loves to plant things. I seem to collect gardener friends. My mom is a landscape architect, and I just feel like, wow, I suck at this.
She's extremely frustrated with not being able to pin down her plant problems and have the right resources to help guide her. And she's had struggles in the past with her time management and actually having the time to take care of her garden.
When they start to die, I'm like, I don't know how to help you. What am I doing wrong? And so then I just go to shop for plants and I go, what thrives on neglect? Because that's what I think is happening.
Recently, she's had some change in circumstances that allow her the space to try gardening again.
I train and license foster families. I work with DECA. I have a lot of flexibility that I didn't used to. I can come home if I need to, and I have a longer break. I also have my partner. He has a way consistent schedule, and he helps with the plants I currently have.
And she's visited the plant bus enough times, and we've had some discussions about container gardening that makes her want to give it another go.
I love the idea of having something that we can just go out and we can pick and we can grill, or we can, that's my dream, to just have so much food.
And she's hella excited for fresh vegetables that she can cook with and feed her family with.
I'm really looking forward to having vegetables. Before was not someone who cooked a lot at home, but since I have my partner here, he's a chef constantly. He makes food almost every day of the week at home.
That's so nice.
It is, and I feel like a lot of what we are missing sometimes is, oh, I just need like a couple tomatoes, or I just need a couple peppers, and I don't want to go all the way to the store for that. So it'll be really exciting to just go to the yard and grab some of those things.
When I think of gardening, I think of in-the-ground gardening because of who my family is. But is that the most common?
Well, it is still the most common because not everyone understands that there are plants out there that work in pots, but it's becoming more and more common to grow in a container because of, well, many reasons we're going to talk about. There's kind of 3 levels of vegetable gardening you can do, or gardening in general. You can do in-ground gardening. You can do raised bed gardening, which is like a hybrid, and then there's container gardening, which is literally growing in a pot above ground. In the modern age of gardening, a lot of breeders have worked to work with different plants so that they're smaller and more compatible with growing in a pot. And it's just so much more flexible, because if we get a late frost in a year, if we get hailstorms, because we do live in Kansas, you can move them around. I don't even work out in the spring because I fully expect my weightlifting and my cardio is going to come from moving pots in and out of my house because of severe weather.
How big are the pots for container gardening then?
I mean, they can range from something that's like 6 inches across all the way to 30 inches across. It's really a matter of how much can you move. If for some reason something happens and you're like, oh, these are getting way too hot or way too much sun or not enough sun, you can move them around.
Slide them around.
Yep. But sometimes, like, the bigger you get, like this big kahuna, this big container, I'd say, honestly, that one's like almost, you know what? I brought a measuring tape. Can you believe this? I brought this because I was like, this is going to maybe become in handy. All right. This guy right here is a good, nice 23 inches across. So this one, oh, you have two.
Yes.
Did I tell you to get two?
You said a 30-inch one, so I got 2 of these.
In this whole experience with Alex, I learned how bad I am at visualizing big measurements. I mean, I can visualize 1/2 inch to about 3 inches, but apart from that, terrible at visualizing measurements. You know what? I said we make it work, we make it work. Half of gardening and like in general, horticulture is just making it work, right?
Yes.
For container gardening, the making it work is part of that, the accessibility portion.
Oh, definitely. Because you don't have to do all the soil prep in ground, you know, and making the compost and all that. It's a lot less intimidating, not to mention it saves the back.
You know, you start digging and I'm like, this is hard. So this I'm excited because I'm just like, I'll put in nice potting soil.
I know, in-ground gardening is hard work. It really is. It's back-breaking labor. I mean, you've got a lot invested into that tomato plant when you get it in the ground. Okay, so we just need to figure out what plants are going into what container. Before visiting Alex, I asked her for a list of things that she thought she and her family would be eating on the regular, because it's really important that you actually grow what you eat so that you're not wasteful and that it makes you feel purposeful when you're spending time watering your plants, for example. So what I actually ended up bringing with me were some snack peppers, some sweet peppers, because she said they loved peppers, a small fruited cherry tomato plant, as well as a cucumber and the mixings for a salad bowl. I also thought we could do a salad bowl planter, and I brought a little bit of all the greens. I brought kale, lettuce, I brought some fun burgundy colored Swiss chard, which is like a spinach substitute, and then arugula.
Is this container just gonna be all green?
No, it's not gonna be all green. The chard that I brought is burgundy because Swiss chard is actually the top of beets naturally. So this variety is really cool because a breeder took the color of the beets and figured out a way to make the top of the plant look like the color of beets. So anyways, salad greens can be very lush and pretty. And if you're a houseplant collector, you understand that leaves are also pretty, not just flowers.
To each their own, Renata.
I also brought some nasturtiums, which no one ever knows how to say nasturtium.
How to say nasturtium, but how do you spell it?
Nasturtium. Nasturtium. Do you want me to use that in a sentence?
I think I'm good, thanks.
Do you know what nasturtiums are?
A flower?
Yes, they are a flower. Good job, gold star. Nasturtiums are an edible flower that tastes like a radish.
As a kid, I went and cut down all the flowers on my mom's flower garden as soon as they bloomed. But I didn't eat them because you shouldn't eat all flowers.
Well, it's really important to make a stipulation with your kids what flowers you can and cannot eat. But when I raise flowers for sale that I know are also edible, I'm making sure that I raise them like an edible crop. So for example, pansies, you can buy as an ornamental from a garden center, or you can buy them as an edible plant from yours truly, because I do not spray them with the same chemicals that ornamental growers are spraying them with. I love including them in container garden planters, like salad bowl planters, because they go with the salad. You can mix them in with your salad greens. You can use them on sandwiches. I even make little compound butters where you can put the petals into butter and spread it on your sandwich. I know, right? Bougie.
Are they colorful? Do they change the color of your butter?
Yeah, they make it look kind of like confetti, but instead of, sugary sprinkles, it's healthy nasturtiums. But it's also wrapped in butter, so there's that.
Balance. Balance.
They're really, really awesome companion plants, but they also will add some ornamental value, some prettiness to your containers.
I love that.
I also threw in some pansies because they're another edible flower, though I feel like they lean more dessert style, and a scented geranium because they keep the mosquitoes away, and why wouldn't we want that? But
I can smell it once you ran your finger through it.
All you do is rub it real good, and then just take a deep breath.
Ooh.
Good, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a rosemary scented geranium. There are many scents. The most commonly thought of is citronella.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows citronella. It's a lemon scented geranium, and it's a lot more strong, but it's not my favorite because it smells like Pledge cleaner to me, and it takes back, makes me have bad childhood memories.
I'm excited to keep away mosquitoes.
Yeah, so, and these also have an edible bloom.
And they're so pretty and dainty.
I know, they're really dainty. They look like lace when they start getting going.
Look like lace?
Well, lacy, airy. So like when you're thinking about design aesthetics, there's either like the compact, tight, nice little, tight look. And then there's also very open, negative space, like lacy look.
Okay.
That is what these geraniums have. They're not your typical Martha Washington style red, showy geranium that you see in like bedding plant stores. They're very old fashioned and lacy. So we've got basically enough for 4 different themed planters here. We got the pepper planter, the sweet pepper planter, we've got the tomato, we've got the salad bowl, and then we've got the cucumber. Okay?
I love it.
Good?
Sounds perfect.
We'll see what we can achieve today.
As you're working on building this container gardening, and as someone who I know has had a garden for many, many, many years, Renata, does it taste better when it's from your own garden?
Oh, yes it does. Even if there isn't really an objective difference in the taste, just because you were the one that grew it, there's like this psychological level to eating that food that is just amazing. Now, maybe I'm just kind of a nerd about it, but I think for most people, if you grow your own food, it provides a different kind of connection. So after I've explained all the different planters, which one are you most excited to try out to grow?
The peppers. We use peppers probably 3 times a week.
Man.
And my daughter is always trying to steal them off the cutting board as we're
That's so impressive. I didn't even like peppers as a kid.
Can't keep bell peppers in my house. So for there to be extra peppers, that's just go eat the ones on the porch, please. Will be great.
Okay, that's great. I'm excited because this one's going to be a fun planter. Yeah. Did you know the more peppers that you plant together, the more they produce?
I did not know that. I'm excited about that. I'm gonna
it's a cross-pollination thing. Okay, cool. All right, well, that's something good.
Will they bring butterflies? I just love butterflies.
Honestly, the more diversity that you include in your garden, the better for the environment. A lot of the edible flowers I've included are going to attract things like the nasturtiums hummingbirds love to drink from.
Yay.
I actually brought 2 nasturtiums with me. One is called Baby Rose, and it's a hot pink flower, which really draws their attention. But this peach melba, this looks like the inside of a peach, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't this look like the inside of a peach?
Definitely.
So that one, it also is attractive, but I think it's prettier to us than maybe to the hummingbirds. But yeah, any plant that's blooming and flowering is going to be beneficial to pollinators and attract them.
Awesome.
Okay.
I love that.
Does the butterflies bring any benefits if they come visit your pot, or is it really just an aesthetic look?
Well, pollinators are so important to the gardening world because without pollination, we don't get fruit. So that could be really important in container gardening. But thankfully, I noticed lots of bees on the dandelions in Alex's lawn. So I know that she's got pollinators present to do the job. Now that we've run through all of the different plants that I brought along, and I've kind of discussed them with Alex so she knows what she's going to be growing actually, we needed to discuss what plants go in what pots. And I could tell Alex was a little bit nervous about matching that up. Now, let's say we plant the tomato in this size and it starts to feel too small. Guess what you can do?
Move it to a bigger one.
You can upsize it, right?
Awesome.
Just like with houseplants, if your plant outgrows its container, you can also upsize your vegetables.
Okay.
Container gardening is like not just, it's like a hybrid between the houseplant world and the in-ground serious gardener world. That's why I think it's a really great way to like get a grip on vegetable gardening, right?
Yeah.
I feel like we talked about like the repotting our plants. And so if we put multiple peppers per se in a container or multiple, I'm gonna go tomato, even if I don't know if you're supposed to put multiple of those in a pot together, how do you move them?
Let's say that we had 3 pepper plants that we put in a 10-inch pot and we get to mid-June and the plants are using water so fast that every day you get home from work, they're like wilted like completely and they look like death. You clearly need more space for those plants to grow into because they're running through all the moisture stored in that volume of potting mix faster than you can water them on a daily basis. That's too small a container. So at that point, what you can do, because they're going to be root bound if they're using water that way, you literally can grab their stocky little stems right there, not little, stocky stems, and shuffle them, pull them out of the pot, and stick their whole root ball into a larger pot size, kind of ruffle them up a little bit, and add some fresh potting mix in there, and boom, you're repotted.
So in my mind, if they're already producing, that's gonna like kill your plant or maybe stall the production, but it's actually beneficial?
It's not gonna stall the production because the number one thing that will stall fruit production is lack of water. So if your plants are wilting repeatedly, they're gonna have really tiny, piddly little fruit or fruit that even aborts. So you have to make sure that you've got enough water for your plants. These are all black plastic containers. And when that black plastic absorbs heat, it can actually warm up the root zone and it can cause the plants to run through water a little bit faster. But since these are sizable enough, you shouldn't have too much of an issue with that, with the water use.
When I think of containers for gardening, I automatically, whether it's right or wrong, think of a nice little tiny terracotta pot. But that's really not anything we used when we thought about this container gardening with Alex.
No, you want to go much more sizable than that because water use is like a big deal in Kansas. We have lots of wind, lots of heat, and fruiting plants use a lot of water. And so if you plant in a terracotta pot, which is porous and it's clay, it's going to get zapped of all of its moisture around the roots really quickly. So what I told Alex to grab was plastic, so non-porous, and something that's large enough to really house the roots and house enough moisture for the plants. You got a couple bags of potting mix. What I told you to grab was just a general purpose potting mix.
Yes.
Why can't you use soil, or what I refer to as sometimes as dirt, in your potting?
Well, true soil is not only super heavy, especially in Kansas where we have clay soils, it also does not allow for good drainage in a container setting, in a pot setting. So if you want to be able to move your pots like we've been talking about, and you want to be able to manage your moisture a little bit better, general purpose potting mix is the way to go. These are big.
Yeah.
They would be impossible to move, which would remove the entire benefit of container gardening. Maybe not the entire benefit, but it'd turn more into a raised bed planter situation if we were using dirt. So dirt. Man, my soils professor would be mad if I was saying dirt instead of soil, because technically this is not soil, this is potting mix. It is not made from real soil. When you look at this potting mix, what are you seeing?
I see a lot of white flecks in it. Some, I don't know, stick kind of.
Some bark?
Yeah. And then what looks like darker dirt in there.
And then see those blue flecks in there?
Yes.
Yeah. So that is that when that bag says feeds for up to 6 months, that's the added fertilizer.
Okay.
It's a type of slow release fertilizer. And basically the way slow release fertilizer works is it's pelleted, and moisture and temperature come into play with releasing it over time. So what's cool about it is the warmer it is outside, the faster that those nutrients are going to be released to the plants for use.
Okay.
And that coincides with how fast they grow, because the warmer it is, the faster your plants grow. So theoretically, they use more nutrients. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is there always added fertilizer in your potting mix?
In what people buy from the garden center, there typically is, because potting mix companies want people to have success with their flowers. And actually, not a lot of people think that they have to fertilize their pots. I blame the companies. So slow release fertilizer is awesome because you don't have to mix fertilizer in your watering can every time you're watering your plants. And one thing that's different about container gardening versus in-ground gardening is like you can add compost and things to your garden for sure to add those nutrients, but soil has naturally occurring mineral nutrients.
Okay.
And plants, especially your fruits and vegetables, because they're working so hard to make those tomatoes and those peppers, they need those nutrients, that nutrient support. And so if we were to have potting mix without that slow release fertilizer, without fertilizer, your plants would get really anemic looking. They wouldn't set flowers or even fruit.
Anemic as in they just look droopy?
They get a chlorotic look, which is yellowing. That is a fancy way for saying they get yellow leaves. And also they would have all kinds of other problems. Like tomatoes, for example, they'd have skin crack issues because calcium and magnesium are really important for building cell walls. And if you don't have proper nutrients, your tomatoes are going to start cracking or having blossom end rot, and flowers won't get produced. It's like there's so many malfunctions that happen. Just like in people, if we don't have our right nutrients, we can't function. Plants are the same way. It's all biology. As long as you know the components that are making up your soil or your potting mix, you as a grower can adjust your care accordingly.
Okay.
So since we know there is fertilizer included for up to 6 months, you know you have 6 months, 5 to 6 months-ish, depending on how hot our summer is, before you have to actually reapply a fertilizer of any kind.
Okay.
Even though Alex said that she's most excited for the pepper planter, of course we're gonna get that done as well, but I really wanted to focus first on the salad bowl planter because there is so much more crafting to do with this planter. You can kind of choose how you want to plant it, but I think it's good to kind of place them in their containers so you can see where they're gonna go. So whenever you're mixing a container for an arrangement, there's like this classic thing, thriller, filler, spiller. The thriller is like the tall thing in the pot. The filler is like the fluffy, the roundy moundy bit, the middle section. And then the spiller is like the trailing plant that comes out.
Is it only an aesthetic thing, or is there a horticultural reason behind it also?
There's not really a horticultural reason. It's pure aesthetic. Landscape designers and container designers use this as a good rule of thumb for designing. And you can use those same ideas when you're building an edible container.
Okay.
Like a salad bowl.
Yeah.
So what I brought with me, I brought these nasturtiums, which are trailers.
Okay.
And they have that edible flower, but they will vine and kind of spill out the side of the pot.
Amazing.
I kind of was thinking your chard and your geranium are kind of more of the thriller, because they're going to get taller. Even though this guy looks little right now, the leaves get like a nice 6 to 8 inches long.
Oh,
so
wow.
they'll be taller. All the plants at this point, we're putting them into the container, are all the same height. And whenever somebody is actually planning container arrangements, it's also important to check the tag to see your finished plant dimensions. Gardening is a lot about imagining what's going to happen. No matter if you're putting a tree in your yard or a tomato plant in a pot, you always have to picture how big that plant's going to get so that you don't overpack things.
So for Alex's garden, I feel like they're all like, what, maybe 5-6 inches tall? How long till we see that thriller, filler, spiller?
Oh, it depends on the rate of growth, which changes with the environment and her watering and the fertilizer and everything. And then your filler is kind of your other greens and the pansies. Mm-hmm. The other thing you need to remember about salad is that in Kansas, we have a very short harvest time for greens.
Okay.
Because lettuce gets bitter with heat and it does not taste good. Arugula gets spicier. It's actually called rocket salad.
Why is it called rocket salad?
Because it's spicy, you know? Rocket salad. Some people love that spice, but your lettuce and your arugula will go to flower once it starts getting hot.
Going to flower, when I think of that, I think of a beautiful flower, but what do you mean when you say lettuce per se is going to flower?
Whenever you're growing an edible crop for its leaves, like herbs or greens, you want to prevent them from flowering. And they're not grown for their flowers, and there's a reason. They're not pretty.
Okay.
Which means that they're gonna stop producing leaves. And it's called bolting.
Okay. I've seen that with basil.
Basil doesn't bolt per se. Basil goes to flower and stops producing as much leaves, but it's not going to kind of end the life cycle of the plant. Bolting kind of implies that the plant's going to flower, maybe even change flavor, and then die.
Does cilantro bolt?
Yes, it does.
Then I think
Good
that's
one.
the one that I did.
Good one. When something bolts, it does. It ends the life cycle and it stops producing leaves. So even if you cut the flowers off of your lettuce or your arugula, it's still not gonna halt the inevitable. But with basil and other herbs, for example, that aren't technically bolting, they can have their flowers pruned off to force more leafy vegetative growth. We are loading this pretty full. You know, we have a lot of plants going into this space, more than we're gonna put into the others. And that's because eventually when they bolt, you'll be able to just pull them out of the container and the rest can fill in.
But how many plants can be put in it?
It really depends on their finished size. But with salad greens, because you know that you're going to be pulling out the greens as they flower and go bitter, it allows for the other plants like the pansies and the nasturtiums and the chard to fill in. So as they grow up together, they'll have more room to grow. Does that make sense?
Yes, but as you're yanking them out, are you just tossing them in the trash?
Or composting them. Yeah, because once they're bitter, you don't want to eat them. Although my neighbor would beg to differ. I'm gonna have you do the planting.
Awesome.
Okay?
I love it.
Roots are really tough, right? But when you dislodge a plant, it's always a good idea to give it a squish.
You say squishing the little pots. And my style of always taking out the plants was just flipping them upside down and shaking the pots to the plant. Does that also work?
Yeah, you can. Sometimes the squishing helps loosen those roots because their root hairs sometimes kind of suction cup to the plastic. And so squishing helps to loosen the roots even further than just shaking it. I like to squish, shake, and tip the pot to get the plants out effectively while gripping the base of the plant. That way you don't like completely break the top off of the root zone. And then, yeah, just plant level with what the original pot level was. And it's important not to pack, because packing, it may seem like you're making it more stable, but when you remove the pore space in the potting mix, it makes it harder for the roots to grow and establish.
Okay. Oh yeah, this looks...
Boom. Does that look good?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got these all planted in. I went ahead and pulled off some of the flowers.
Why are you pulling off the flowers?
Because when, you know how we were talking about plants and putting their energy into flowering, and if you're growing them for their leaves, then you want to remove the flowers? Well, whenever I plant anything, even the flowers, because I want to direct their energy into roots and leaves to better establish them more quickly, I remove all their flowers at planting. And sometimes it's a painful task for some people. For others, it kind of feels good.
and for the entertainment of this, as you were just tossing them out in the yard, is that just gonna compost or?
They're all natural. The wind will take them. This is one thing you can tell. I grew up in the prairie where we had no protection because I would just throw leaves up into the air and the wind would just take them, I don't know where, to be composted into plant heaven. And these are edible. You want to eat it?
Right now?
Yeah, I wouldn't eat the whole stem because it's kind of chewy, but I like to eat the petals. So it kind of builds the flavor. Do you taste the wintergreen mint kind of at the end of it?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna take this and keep going.
A little minty.
I hate wintergreen. Do you like wintergreen?
Not a chance.
Who likes wintergreen?
Maybe my grandma. Not me.
The only exception I have to enjoying wintergreen mint is in the flavor of a pansy. Because there's something about eating a pansy that I'm okay with the flavor as long as I know I'm eating this cute little flower. It is. That's why people like to sugar them and use them on cupcakes.
Oh. I think are they on wedding cakes pretty often too? I don't know.
Oh no, that'd be a fun wedding. I go that. All right, here you go.
Okay.
You want to try the nasturtium? You need to taste that one.
You know, at my time at K-State, I never had a time where I was tasting flowers. Was that part of your education?
No, actually it wasn't. This is a me thing. I mean, we learned about edimentals We had a whole plant ID list just for edimentals, which is edible ornamentals. But aside from that, that's as close as we got to talking about edible flowers. See what you think of this one. I'm going to be interested.
Oh, that was silly. Ooh, there's like sweetness to that. I really like that.
Yeah?
And then it gets kind of spicy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it builds at the end.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's kind of like arugula a little bit. Mm-hmm. The nasturtium flowers can get quite spicy. They're spicy for me. Now, they're not even jalapeno spicy. They're even like, I'd say a mild radish, depending on how spicy your radishes are. So now we have it planted. I'm happy with how it looks. Are you happy with how it looks so far?
Yeah, I think it'll fill out too as they grow and be happy.
I think it always looks so floppy at the very beginning. I mean, it does look a little bit haphazard, but as they root, they're gonna get more established, they're gonna fill out, and once you start seeing that new growth start to appear, you know that it's going to town. I always love seeing them get kind of hardened off in the first week outside.
What is hardening off for crops or plants?
When you first buy your plants, they have lots of soft growth because they've been sheltered in a greenhouse environment most of the time. When you plant them into your environment, your grow environment, they're going to be exposed to your things like wind and temperature swings and oftentimes drought stress. And so there's this period of them going from looking soft to them looking really bedraggled and awful, to them looking kind of like, oh yeah, I've adapted to my environment, now it's time to grow. That little process right there, that's called hardening off. Plants are really good about adapting to the environment you give them. And we're going to talk about site location here later. But next, we're going to water.
Water them.
We're going to water. I see you have a hose hooked up here.
I do.
I also brought my watering can.
Okay.
Technically, this little bit, this nozzle with all the little holes at the top, it kind of looks like a pepper shaker, like a big one. That is a breaker.
Okay.
But you can get them that screw on your hose.
Oh yeah,
and
I've
so when
seen
you go
those.
to Ace Hardware later sometime, just pick one up. But I think we just fill the watering can and go from there.
So like a spray nozzle. That'd be a breaker.
Yeah, but a breaker is a very specific type of spray nozzle. Spray nozzles imply they could give a hard stream of water or just a flow. Breakers literally break up the whole flow into lots of little different flows. It creates droplets and it makes it easier on the plants. It's important to do this job with conviction.
Okay.
Because the breaker works the best to break up the water. So the point of breaking up the water is so that they're smaller droplets and they don't displace a bunch of soil. Like if you splash, whoop, the soil just will go everywhere. Mm-hmm. So the breaker creates smaller droplets, but it only works if you pour with conviction.
Okay.
So there's always that first little bit where it's kind of trickles. But if you just make a fast motion of pff, and then just pour over, yep,
like this.
Just go for it.
Sorry.
Even more.
Even more
Boom.
conviction.
Even more conviction. I know, it takes practice.
Renata, we've planted it, we've picked everything out. Then we planted it, we've now watered it. Does it just get to sit and be where it is, or it's a container? Are we moving it around?
So we've already established that you have the flexibility of being able to move your containers, but we haven't really established where these are going to go yet. So that's what we need to discuss next. The beauty of containers, you can move them if we choose a wrong site today. It's hard for me since I don't live here to know exactly how the sun's going to hit, where it's going to hit, but there's a few key things you want to think about when you're choosing where to put your plants, okay? So you already mentioned sunlight, water, access to the spigot.
Yes.
Easy access to the house so you can come out and harvest. And then you also want to think about the exposure to the environment, like the wind.
Mm-hmm. As you're talking about shade, sunlight, I feel like sometimes you read on tags they want full sun, they want partial sun. Is there a potential your containers need to be at different spots around your property?
You know what? That's a good question. So honestly, most things that you're going to eat are going to require 4 hours plus of sunlight. With containers, usually you want them close to the house. They're going to usually be a part sun situation. You just got to make sure they get enough sunlight to start producing fruit. So we are on a west exposure right here. We're facing west, which is the evening sunlight. That means automatically the house is going to shade us on the front half of the day. But there's also a tree that is opposite us, and that tree is going to shade it for the bulk of the evening. So from what I'm seeing here, I'm guessing you're going to get around 4 hours of light in this location.
Okay.
This is another one of those skills that you pick up as you gain experience as a gardener, and being able to visualize what the light is like in your yard during different parts of the day.
So if a novice, you just stand out there or check that spot where maybe you should put your containers a few times a day, like morning, midday, afternoon, evening?
If you just pick a spot that you think is going to be the best, use an educational guess, and then be an observational grower. Every time when you're watering, look and see, is there sun scorch? Are they setting flowers and fruit? And then you can make adjustments based on what you're seeing the plants doing. You mentioned another site that might work, so I want to go take a look at that too, to see if that might be more optimal than this condition, because it does have the hose.
Yeah.
And it does have 4 hours of light, which is nice, and it's by your front door. But let's go take a look in your backyard and see if there's another viable option.
If there's two sites that are similar for a person, I mean, front door, back door maybe, depending on how your house sets, do you just pick the one with convenience?
Pick it for convenience or pick it for aesthetic. Maybe you want your neighbors to be able to see your fun little vegetable garden growing. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to go out and pick your tomatoes in your moo-moo. Maybe you shouldn't put it in your front yard then. These are all trivial things that you can use to inform your decision if you've got two viable options. So this is also a really nice space to have your containers. You're by your back door. I know your kitchen's right on the inside, which is nice, especially if you add herbs. You can just come out here and pick some salad when you want it for a sandwich, that kind of thing. I like that it's kind of raised up off the lawn so that you can do whatever mowing and the containers aren't going to get in the way. Also, there was gravel at the front that you'd be setting it on, and sometimes in like July, gravel can get really hot, and with those black containers, it might be a lot of heat generated on those roots.
If we don't want it on gravel, what are some do's and don'ts of maybe what's underneath our pots?
You really don't want grass underneath them, because then your grass is going to die underneath your pots. Concrete and gravel both heat up in the summer, especially if they're in sunny areas. You kind of don't want those, but you can always lift your pots onto trivets off of the ground to help prevent them from getting quite as hot straight on the root zone. Honestly, I think you're probably going to get more light in this area.
Yeah.
And it's the east light, which is ideal because it's not as hot and intense as evening light and afternoon light. I think this is the better place.
Okay,
I really
perfect.
do.
We have a spigot back here. We just need to put a hose
Right,
on it,
you do have a spigot.
So
That'd be perfect. I'm going to hand you the tags that we took out of the pots.
okay.
They have the plant guide information on them. I put all the basics on my website so that after I leave here today, you should have a good care rundown of how to take care of your plants.
Awesome.
Now, I do want to give you some quick tips before we talk about main takeaways here. It's important to check every 2 to 3 days on your plants, at least right now, but we are going to get to the point you're going to want to check them daily. I find it very helpful to put a reminder on my phone that just reminds me every day or every 2 days. You can set your reminders differently or an alarm to water your plants. That way, at least it gets you in the routine. Because believe me, the routine gets easier. It really does. But everybody has that growing pain in the spring of having to remember to water their plants again. At least their outdoor plants.
From listening to Alex and you build the container garden, I feel like I learned that you don't have to have a ginormous plot of land to have a garden. So what are some other key points you saw as we built this container garden?
There's two main things that people need to know. One is that comparing your garden to other people's gardens is never a good idea. And container gardening is something that meets you at your level. So if you've only ever grown plants in containers, like houseplants, for example, gardening in containers makes sense for you because you're going to understand on a deeper level how that works versus going from houseplant growing straight into in-ground gardening. That is much more of a jump.
I also think container gardening might be great because all of my gardener friends will be like, you know, I spent 3 hours weeding in there, and I was like, I don't want to.
Yeah. Are you feeling comfortable?
I am. I'm feeling a lot more prepared, knowledgeable, knowing how to not kill them. Just general care. I feel like I'm taking away a lot of what I assumed was right was not right.
Yeah.
And was actually maybe causing problems. And then I was like, what am I doing? So now I can like look back and see.
Yeah.
That
I do feel like people that live with the assumption that they have a black thumb, it's because they've made assumptions about plant care that has just there's never been someone there to work with them on a level to help correct any of those misperceptions.
If people are wanting to have their own bite-sized garden, what are some resources they could go check out?
Well, first off, you need to check out my YouTube channel, Renata's Garden, because you're gonna see all the bonus content, visual content from this episode and more. But you can also head to my Substack if you are a reader, or you can go to renatasgarden.com to see my plant guide there.